Thanks for doing this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Like, I'm from Australia. My partner bought me just from a 50th
Really? I
birthday.
thought it was Oklahoma.
Like Steve Irwin, you know, the crocodiles and kangaroos and stuff. But thanks very much for the opportunity. And yeah, I basically do a Wasp tribute in Australia, just to tribute you and just to make, you know,
Yeah,
mate,
good.
because you're the man, mate. It's, you know, and we brought you up to where you're supposed to be, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and the boys just want to say hello. But my question is about the Crimson Idol. I do a lot of writing since I had a bit of a breakdown about 5 years ago, and I found that I can write.
What, 5 years ago?
I had a bit of a breakdown, and I found I could write a lot. And the Crimson Idol's an amazing album, and I just wanted to know where were you and what were you thinking when you were doing that? Because I think it's just absolutely brilliantly written, and I listen to it still now, and I listen to the story of Jonathan. I think it's just where were you what were you thinking when you were writing that? Because it's just amazing. It really is.
All authors will tell you writing is a process of discovery.
Okay.
Sometimes you have a germination of an idea, you know, that's small, which is what that idea was. I mean, it started, I was in a restaurant in London when the epiphany first hit me.
Okay.
But like I said, it was just a germination of an idea. It wasn't very big, you know, but it started growing from there. And that was 87 when I had that idea the first time. So for 3 years, this thing is percolating in my head. We do the Headless record, but I'm still thinking about it. You know, it's in the back of my mind. They say all writers write all the time, whether they're aware of it or not. You're constantly writing.
Yeah.
And so what happens, it becomes a process of discovery. It has been said that when your brain goes into either an alpha or a beta state before you go to sleep is when you're your most creative. So just before you wake up or just before you go to sleep. Because you hear guys talk about all the time they dream stuff. I dream stuff on Crimson Island. I dream Hold On to My Heart.
What a beautiful song, mate.
Well, yeah, but you wake up and it's there, and the lyrics, it's like getting it for free.
Yeah.
You know, Headless. I dreamt Headless. Complete with lyrics. Billy Joel says he dreams all his.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get every one of those to do that. So it's always going to be a process of discovery. And as you start digging, you're going to find things. Now, to give you the proper setup of that record, there was also, I was talking about a series of events that happened. There was a series of events that happened with that record too. Because believe it or not, we had done Headless, and I was in a place where I did not know if I could compete with the best songwriters in the world. I was in a place where I thought, I'm never going to be as good as those guys. And I'm talking about the best of the best. So, and you guys probably saw it in the little museum thing, me giving Townsend the record. You know, okay, Pete and I talked for about 45 minutes about songwriting that time. And I asked him, I said, is it easy for you? Because you make it look easy. He started laughing. And I could tell by his kind of nervous laughter that it was not easy. And I told him, I said, all right, let me give you a picture and see if you can relate to this. We're going to write a song, and we're going to start out with a block of stone. It's square, has no real shape. You got a chisel in one hand and a hammer in the other. And you just start whacking away. And pretty soon it starts to take some sort of shape. Some shapes turn out better than others. But whether it's a good shape or whether it's a bad shape, somewhere along the way, you're going to slip and your knuckles are going to get bloody. And he started laughing. And I said, so you can't relate? He says, that is the greatest analogy I've ever heard. Because that process of discovery that I'm talking about is painful. Because you're going to do it right, to make it authentic. You got to go to places you don't want to go to sometimes. And if I had to bet, whether it's me or anybody else, any other artist that has been able to capture an audience and take them for a lifelong ride. And when I say lifelong, I don't mean 5 years or 10 years. Take them for that lifelong ride. The common denominator in it all is the lyrics. Probably everybody in this room, the reason you're here is because of those lyrics.
Absolutely.
Okay, if that's true, then how do I relate to you if I'm not authentic? And how am I going to be authentic if I don't let you inside my head? Literally let you crack my skull open, let you walk around barefoot, discover the good, the bad, the not so good.
Yeah.
If I don't do that with the lyrics, you're never going to feel like you know me. And if a fan or a listener does not feel like they know you, they're never going to develop that intimate relationship.
Right.
And if they are not intimate with you, you will never take them on that lifelong ride. Because records are chapters in a book, and it's not finished until the artist is done with it, and then the book's complete. So when you look at it, all those records, they're like a diary, and they're little pieces, little snapshots, of where you were at that time. I've said that the first record was an angry record done by an angry band, and it was true, it was. But you go to 5 years down the road, we make Headless. Kind of hard to be angry when everybody in the band is driving Ferraris. It kind of loses something in translation. So those records become snapshots of who you are at that time. But unless you're being authentic with your audience, allowing them, like I said, to see the good and the bad and the not so good, they're never going to feel like they know you. So if you're going to do it, and you're going to do it authentically, it's going to be like Peter Gabriel said, digging in the dirt to find the places where we got hurt. And you're going to have to be willing to share that. A lot of writers don't want to do that because they don't want people to know about the private lives. Pop music is like that. But pop music is not the kind of art we're talking about. Those are people who just make records.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's a place for that too, but it's not what we're talking about right now. So if you're going to do that, you got to be willing to lay it out on the table and say, here it is, folks. I laugh when I hear people talk about nowadays or this day and age where people get canceled and things like that. Whether it's me or somebody like me, you cannot cancel us. We've already shown you everything there is to know about us. There ain't nothing else on the left out on the table that you ain't seen. So if you don't like it, too bad. Go and harass somebody else because I don't give a shit.
That's very true. So thank you very much.
Hopefully that'll help.
Thanks very much for your time.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, 15-hour flight from Australia to come out here, us two. It's been a
Say
long,
that again?
15 hours we flew.
Oh,
and
okay.
then into LA.
That's an hour more than.
And then we flew an hour to get here. And we are coming to your show.
That's a killer flight.
It is a killer. And we're heading to your show in San Fran as well. And then the last show in LA before we fly home.
Who's paying for all this?
We are.
So, just wanted to let you know, that's what we've done to be here.
So no guilt trip on me?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all. So, and it's our first time, obviously, meeting you and also seeing your band play. So it's a very, very big deal for us. I was going
I hope we don't stink.
I
No, you
know,
don't.
right?
No, you don't,
Kiss,
mate.
right?
No, you don't.
I'm a Kiss fan, but you know.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for the haul that you guys did to get here. So
Thank
really
you. So
appreciate it.
I was going to ask you about the New York Dolls as well, but that's been covered off. So thank you for that. I guess something that I'd like to know is after a show, how do you wind down? Do you have a process or a ritual that you go through to calm yourself to a point where you
Have you ever heard the expression adrenaline dump?
Yes.
Okay, off police, military guys, they all go through. Whenever you go into an intense situation
Yes.
where your adrenaline is just coming out of your fingertips, you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what it's like, and it's an adrenaline dump every night. You know, we've had long conversations about whether this is good for you or not.
Yeah.
Because when you look at people that have gone through this, there are lasting effects of it.
Yes.
So I don't really know. You can almost set your watch by me. It takes me an hour and a half
Hour and a half. Okay.
just to get out of the dressing room.
Wow.
And then I usually don't get to sleep till 5 or 6 in the morning.
Wow.
You know, so it just, but there's also something else that goes on with me too that is probably different than most performers, because the way I process what happens on stage, it may be shocking to you, but I don't experience it like most people.
Right.
Everything goes into slow motion.
Okay.
So when I'm on the stage, you know, have you ever been in a situation like a car accident or anything where everything goes into
Slows
slow motion?
down,
Right.
yes.
That's what it's like for me when I'm up there.
Wow.
You know, you hear athletes talk about this. They use the expression, clear the mechanism. And what that means is you're totally focused on what you're doing. And when you concentrate that hard, everything goes into slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
So I can look at the audience and I see them cheering, but I don't hear it.
Really?
Oh yeah, because like I said, it's like watching slow motion television
With
with
the
a sound
volume
down.
down. Yeah, right.
And so I don't experience what you hear performers talking about, the joy of being on stage. I've never really experienced that like everybody else.
So you have like a dissociation that happens?
But what happens after the show, I run the tape back in my head, and then, because I'll be frank with you, I perform for me.
Yes.
I'm not really doing it for the audience.
Okay.
Because when you, as a performer, if you raise the bar really high in your head, you're trying to achieve perfection every night.
Yes.
The trick is to get your head and your butt wired together at the same time. And it's hard because you're doing a half a dozen things every second you're up there.
Yeah.
And to get them where they're all talking to each other at the same time is not easy.
Yeah.
So I'll come off and I run the tape back in my head, and if I've done an okay job, then I'm satisfied, you know. But if not, you know, it's not a good night for me.
Right.
And I also tell people that I think most professionals, and I don't, you know, it doesn't matter whether you're, you know, a plumber or whatever you do, it's probably the same, that all professionals are gonna idle somewhere around probably 92% of what they're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
So on a bad day, they're gonna think, you know, they were horrible. They were probably 88%.
Yeah.
And on the days they thought they were great, maybe 95.
Yeah.
So the swing one way or the other isn't going to be too great, because if you're a professional at what you do, you're going to be fairly consistent.
Yes. Yeah.
But with us, that swing is magnified. I mean, there's only been 2 times in my entire career I thought I was perfect, and that's not much. That's not much
It's
in
not
40
much.
years.
Wow.
No.
But where, you know, I look back at it and go, wow.
And you remember those specific
Absolutely.
moments?
With New York City and Bonn, Germany.
Right.
Wow.
And oddly enough, they were both within just a couple of months of each other.
Interesting.
You know, but you know, there's been times where it's close, but not what those two
Not
were.
quite there. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So, but that's the object. You know, I heard, and I tell this story a lot too, that Yul Brynner, the actor, you know, he's famous for the 10 Commandments and a whole bunch of movies. Good, bad, or not good, bad, you know, Magnificent Seven. But probably the thing he was best well known for was The King and I, where he played the Emperor of China. But he also did a Broadway version of it where he did over 5,000 performances of the same play. And he was doing an interview one day, and a woman asked him, she goes, you know, how do you keep this fresh? You know, you've done over 5,000 performances, it's the same every night. His eyes flared when she said that. He says, it's never the same.
No.
He goes, and when he said that, I knew precisely what he meant.
Yeah.
Because it's back to the idea, getting your head and your butt wired together at the same
Same
time
time.
to deliver that performance where you're hitting your mark, you're hitting your lines, everything. And if you're a perfectionist, that's what you're after.
Yeah.
You know, so long protracted answer to give you guys an idea of what's going on up here tonight. when
Yeah,
you
no,
watch
that's
it.
awesome. Perfectionism is a hard thing.
Yeah, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.